Orange Piccolo and Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Vegeta got a platinum equip before Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta. Well then, how does the community feel about these equips? Let's dive in. I hope you guys enjoy, and yeah, subscribe if you're new. So I put out a post over on YouTube's community page, and I said, hey, I'm going to be going ahead and talking about Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Piccolo getting their equips. Chime in if you want to be in the video. So for the most part, I'll read a lot of these. I probably won't get every single one, so forgive me if I miss yours. All right, so the first thing I want to say is I thought Piccolo was kind of underrated initially. I thought Piccolo was better than he got credit for being. I thought it was okay that people were mad at him though, because he's an anniversary character. He's an LF during the anniversary at that. He also came out alongside in an anniversary, by the way, that the anniversary was pretty stacked, dude. In an anniversary that featured Vegeta Blue, the Gammas, Goku and Frieza. And then you have Piccolo. So there's obviously one bad egg in the batch. So out of those, no matter how good I thought Piccolo was relative to the rest of the game, I thought he was really good. And I thought he got unfair treatment, but I understand when people were mad at him, because you look at the rest of the group and it's like, well, damn, this guy sucks, right? He had a very specific / niche role, so I don't really mind him getting this equip. The Boo Bros, boy, did they fall off, and they fell off hard. They weren't even usable by the anniversary. When did they come out? In April? Correct me if I'm mistaken. Please let me know. They came out like in mid-April, right? And they were good for like 2 weeks. And by the time the anniversary rolled around, they weren't even usable anymore like that. Okay, maybe that's a little harsh, but maybe not. Where do you fall in the spectrum? All right. So it was definitely necessary for the blue duo. Orange Piccolo could have done it without it, but I'm not complaining as a Piccolo fan. I'll take any buffs. Fair enough. I can't really speak on the blue duo since I don't have them, but I feel that Piccolo definitely needed hit it. Offensively, he's kind of solid. Defensively, he goes down way too fast. Yeah, that's kind of my issue with Piccolo, is that like you almost think he's supposed to be a tank or like he's a defense type, but he's not. He's a damage dealer. He's a melee character. This guy is made to be a damage dealer, but the wonky thing is he's got like that, a defense gauge that fills up one time and things like that. He's got some wonkiness in his kit, and he has other things that if I recall correctly, depend on him taking hits or whatever. And it's just like he ain't built like that. You would think this guy would be a tank, right? The way he's built, like you know how they always make Broly characters. Okay, well, at least with Ultra Broly, I always get Ultra Broly confused, because to me he seems like he's a defense type that's just kind of listed as a melee, and that's kind of is what it is. Sometimes they do that, right, because of stat reasons. But Piccolo is not really the case. Like, he doesn't really have if I recall correctly, he doesn't really have a ton of like damage cut in his kit. I'm not going to go through it, but moving on. He goes down way too fast. I have him revive just to die before I can even get his gauge filled up too many times. I'm hoping the equip makes him a bit more tanky and charges his gauge faster. It's odd that I always thought Orange Piccolo was a defense type. Yeah, well, you would think he is, because his playstyle, and he's freaking Orange Piccolo. He should be a tank, right? So it's kind of weird. He does die way too fast, but even offensively, he can't do anything until he revives. That was also true. I'm glad they're giving him this equip. His disrupt is pretty good. Yeah, so like he doesn't. I think he only has 15% cut, but and it's right there. But he did have disruption stuff. Yeah, okay, so that's what it was. I was like, dude, I'm pretty sure this Piccolo has like no cut. But he does have like reduced Dragon Ball, things like that. And reduce key, you know, he has some stuff. I think he has draw speed, like the other person was just saying. So like there's some stuff here to help him live, but it's like the inverse of like Jiren. People swear up and down Jiren is a tank, and I'm like, he's not. So Jiren, like the LF Jiren, he is the Zenkai, obviously. He is a character, I think he's range type, first and foremost. He's not even a defense type. You don't really want defense types, probably, because it just hampers the offense, because the stat spread is different. The sheet is different for each typing. But he is a character that's predicated on, like, you know, his primary role is being a wall for his team, which is fine, but he doesn't have any disruption. It's like the exact opposite. Jiren has like minor stuff that's kind of irrelevant, or he has stuff that pops when he's like last man, but he doesn't have reduced key, he doesn't have card destroy, he doesn't have these things that like defensively, like he destroys cards I think on his green card, but that's neutral, that's not the same. Piccolo's kind of a little different. So anyway, moving on. By the way, Piccolo's equip does give him extra bulk because of just sheer stats, right? But it also just made him more offensively inclined, I believe, with the equip's third slot. So the Boo Duo's equip, it's kind of hard to fix this character with an equip. They just flat out needed a Zenkai. So there's that. They are a lot better though. They draw the extra card, but this is still underwhelming, kind of. It's not even that the equip is underwhelming, it's just that the character needed too much of a rework to have an equip. The character actually just flat out needed a Zenkai. They were a lot better, but they're not as good as you would imagine. Now, Piccolo's equip is like super duper short in comparison. Did you see the text on the last one? Applies the following effects itself after transforming, plus damage, plus health, minus card cost. Very simple. It's just more offense. He has more stats, so he's going to be obviously better off with damage and defense, but it's just more offense. So Piccolo's equip on the surface, you can tell they knew he was a brand new character, or they treated him like he was a brand new character, because they really didn't do a ton with this, but it does make him a lot better. And he's probably the best green in the game right now. And the biggest loser with Piccolo getting better, and I thought he was better anyway, by the way, than Gogeta / Piccon. I thought he was better. But the biggest loser is Piccon Gogeta, because they're now just automatically. If it was debatable before, it's not anymore. They function in the same role. Piccolo's just better. It is what it is. At least for movies, right, I guess. But, like, that character also wants to be on movies anyway, right? Don't they have passives that, like, purposely take you off of putting them on Fusion Warrior? I thought they wouldn't give Piccolo his unique equip since the hashtag for movies wasn't featured on it, but I'm glad he's getting something to get even more useful on release. It's like Green Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta 2.0. It is kind of similar to that, right? It's kind of a similar situation with an anniversary character. Green, not defense type this time around. Green anniversary character getting an equip. That's kind of cool. Kind of a similar situation. However, I think Gogeta waited like 8 months. I think Gogeta waited a long time. Piccolo waited like 5 months. So something like that, 4.5, 5 months. Piccolo could really use some buffs for him. It makes him the #1 pick for a green unit. For the Buu duo, they desperately need a buff because their main problems are not the stats, more of the technical issues. The Goku side is good. He's got the damage. He performs well. Maybe just give him a little bit of a boost. The main issue is the Vegeta side. He needs more defensive tools. Draws 1 or fewer cards when performing a tag switch from the Goku side to Vegeta side, which I believe actually that part is in the equip. The Vegeta does draw a card, I believe. Maybe not, but I'm pretty sure that's in the equip. He needs more defensive tools, things like that. So my experience with that character, the Vegeta side is just so bad. But with the equip, the bulk is a lot better, as you would imagine, with the extra defense and survivability that they have. And so that's a factor. And they're more offensively inclined because the draw card and stuff like that. They're a lot better. It's just, like I said, I think that they just flat out needed an overhaul. They need to have somebody literally take a look at that character and see where the actual deficiencies are. You can't fix all of that with just one slot on an equip. It's just too much. Crazily enough, I was just running them on a team with Piccon and had so much fun, so I'm low-key excited. Nice. So I actually posted this week a couple of days before the updates came out, like literally. I think it was like the day before or something like that. I have none of the units, but I feel like it's deserved because they're both really underwhelming on release. For the Piccolo one, it's weird because he's good now in the meta. That's another thing too I forgot to mention. So Piccolo was underrated, I thought, for a while, but he finally found a footing with this movie/regen type meta with Janemba. Janemba brought relevance to Piccolo in a way that he hasn't really had since the anniversary in his release. Because Piccolo was, like I said, it may have been debatable, but he was basically one of the best greens you could possibly use against Janemba, period. And you needed a green in the meta, basically. So Piccolo got super duper relevant. Now, I don't know if that literally, like, the aspect of Piccolo getting more play than intended, or than he was getting, was intended. But if it wasn't intended at that time, it certainly is intended now, because this equip is clearly done with Janemba in mind and Piccolo being a part of the meta. They didn't just whip this equip up in one day, by the way. I always tell people this. These things don't just take one day. They don't just take a week. They have had this equip probably planned for Piccolo for a decent while. Probably a couple of months. I'm not saying it takes a couple of months to literally do an equip and program it and make it work and push it to the update to the game. It's all a package thing. They do their updates in segments, right? So it just was probably on their to-do list for a long time, meaning that they knew he was going to get this. And I said this going all the way back to the Goku and Frieza thing. Naturally, people are going to do this. This is fine. People are going to miscast that buff they got to being a direct response to the community. Because if you remember, the community was kind of mad at Goku and Frieza. They were kind of underperforming too, very much similar to Piccolo. And again, I think it's fair to have the honest analysis in hindsight and say they didn't need the buff, but whatever. I'll die on that hill, whatever. But they came back super fast, like a week later, and did a full-on update. I promise you, take this for what you will. That does not mean that it was because of the community. It means the devs are already going to update that character because they themselves in their own testing were not impressed with the character, right? So the updates do take a while. So Piccolo is kind of an interesting case because he has been planned to have one for a while. So it's just kind of cool to see because he just, but like I said, he's a lot more relevant in this meta anyway. And now he's twice as relevant because he's super strong now. So it's interesting to see the full circle change with him. It's like the opposite of the Gammas where like, the Gammas are kind of like whatever, then Vegeta Blue kind of pushed them out of the meta, and then they come back with a freaking vengeance, right? I guess it's not opposite, but the same thing. They come back with a vengeance, right? So they're super strong too. And Go Freeze hasn't gone anywhere. I'm happy that the Blue Bros are getting a unique equipment, but I'm kind of mad that LFEB hasn't won yet. It's been like 2 years. Vegeta Blue at least does have a Zenkai, so I get your point. When it comes to these LFs, it's like Platinum Equip, Platinum Equip Awakening, and Zenkai. They don't necessarily get them all in that order. Some of them do, some of them don't. But the point is, those are different avenues they're going to take to buff these characters. And who knows if they'll ever give a character a second one of those equips, I'm not sure. Who knows if Zenkai ever progresses to Zenkai level 2, like I've actually joked about saying with some, because the old characters like Beerus are just like, like come on, bro. But at the same time, maybe those old characters they just run their course and they're supposed to be bad. That's fine. It's a gacha game. Anyway, moving on. But the point is, if you have one of those things, I'm not really mad at it. And Vegito did have at least one of those things. So I feel like I am high because nobody expected this to happen, and I'm so glad. I mean, a certain YouTuber whose name rhymes with Shmi Tree was telling you guys that these guys may get a equip in some videos I may or may not did a few weeks ago, but whatever. Particularly before Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Yeah. Anyway. I feel like I'm high because nobody already answered that one. Piccolo did deserve to be pretty OP on release. Hopefully this plat does that. See, that's the kind of the sentiment. Like, people were just disappointed with Piccolo because he was not, like, even though I thought he was better than he got credit for being as an actual character, he just wasn't living up to the hype, right? Or I almost heard that same high tweet a third time. Orange Piccolo is one of my favorite units, and I can't wait to see how they help him out. I think I'd make the plat all defense. It would help him more. Be more of a defense unit. And for the Boo Bros, I don't care about the Boo Bros at all, but I'm glad that they got the buff. Okay, yeah, Piccolo, it seems like the general sentiment from a lot of people is that Piccolo just died too fast. Like, he needs more defense. That's actually something that happens with like all revives. If you go all the way back to Cell, one thing that was super clear is that they have a hard time balancing how tanky a character is pre and post revive. They don't want the character to be a freaking wall pre-revive for obvious reasons. Because the fact that you'll never get the revive, it's harder to get the revive. Also, it's really strong if they're crazy tanks before and after the revive because the character is crazy good that way. They have a hard time balancing it. So it's kind of led to this situation where like all the revive characters just get shredded to pieces post revive. So Piccolo's no different. He literally has 15% cut. And my thoughts on cut are that it's garbage on any character unless you have a very high amount. And I actually think high amounts like 70% cut are power crap too. Cut needs to be over 100% if we're being honest at this point, because the characters are getting hundreds and hundreds of percent of damage. Why wouldn't you think we need 100% of cut to actually make a difference, right? So if you're Piccolo and you got 15%, well, damn. I think Piccolo may have some pre-revive that's like fluctuating to the second half, but still, point stands. I only have Piccolo, but yeah, he needed it. He wasn't super great when he dropped, and he's only been power crept since. That's kind of not exactly true. He has been a little power crept because the game does have active power creep, but he was better recently than he had been in a long time because of the meta change. Two uniques prove to me two things. They knew both units were mid on release and refused to acknowledge it. Well, yeah, that's true. They knew the characters were not. So this is something I talked about a minute ago. The turnaround time, right? Again, they don't have the ability to actively look at community feedback and say, okay, let's implement this change. Also, and not just implement the change, but implement it in a timely manner, right? They're not gonna acknowledge it really. Like, they very rarely ever say, oh, our character's crap, we're gonna buff them eventually. They very rarely ever do that. So that's not something they were gonna acknowledge really either. They did it with Goku and Frieza and gave them a balance freaking change. They had stopped doing balance changes for years. And they made it very clear they're not going to keep doing it. It was a one-off exception, right? So anyway, that whole situation is so bad. So yeah, turnaround time, right? It's for these characters. Also, there's different avenues. There's the way that the game there's the way that the developers design a character just on paper. There's a way that said character actually functions in the game, in the meta, in certain content like PvP, whatever. And then there's the way that they were intended to function in those same modes. Those same things don't always all align. They may say, we want this character to be the best character in the game, for example. And then that character winds up being maybe just top 10 because the meta is different. The meta is going to dictate certain teams are going to mainly be there. This character is not able to supersede the meta, things like that. And then they're like, oh, well, damn, they didn't wind up meeting our expectations. Let's buff them, right? Maybe that's not what I'm saying is the case here, but there are different ways that this breaks down. It's not a clear-cut thing. And then the last thing about this, before I move on to the next part of this, is that we absolutely have to understand that the community we interact with, you guys watching the video, people on Twitter, people responding to this post, it's a very small community. You may think that it's massive because, you know, you'll see Rai with 100,000 views on a video or Goresh, whatever the case is. That doesn't really matter. That doesn't really matter. It's still nothing. That's nothing in the grand. That's a drop in the bucket. Especially considering not all those said 100,000 players play PvP, have a problem with the character. Like, you gotta, when you start applying qualifiers, the number gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and it becomes an echo chamber, right? So, just because you think a character may not be good or useful or whatever the case is, and also the level you play at, maybe you play on the high end of PvP, to other people, other players, that may not be the case, right? So, when we think that a character may need a buff, their internal data, the representation of the character, the usefulness of that character that they're seeing on all these graphs and charts on the back end may not actually support that. You see the point? And so this is why, like I said, I circle back to Goku and Frieza, because I guarantee that was the case with Goku and Frieza. It probably did not support it. But there's also, like I said a moment ago, the way that they wanted the character to perform. They were not okay with Goku and Frieza not being the best character in the game. And that was very clear by the rework that character got, because they didn't just do marginal things that improved them just a little bit from being like top 5. Like, they were like top 5, dude. Like, it didn't just do that. They went above and beyond with that character to make them literally the best character in the game for months, right? So that means that they didn't hit the mark that they wanted. They wanted them to be that good, right? So on the topic of characters being mid on release and they just don't acknowledge it, maybe they know, maybe they do, maybe they don't know, but regardless, when they turn around and do a character quickly with another equip and stuff like that, it is because of one of those things. Either the character underperformed internally and they didn't hit what they wanted, like Goku and Frieza, or the response that they're seeing in game, not really communities, because they take feedback, but like that feedback is a drop in the bucket too. Let's just call it what it is. But the response they're seeing for that usefulness of that character and the way that they're performing is probably not what they wanted to. So let's go ahead and back to it. Where was I even at? Oh yeah, instead of buffing them like they did with Goku and Frieza, which they put in that position of just buffing major releases, they instead gave them plats, which is good, makes them possibly relevant for a month, or just makes them slightly better than before, which does nothing and ruins the potential for a better unique. Well, if the argument's going to be that a character should get buffed later rather than sooner, well, yeah, that's true. I mean, we just talked about Beerus. He's a victim of timing. He was the first Zenkai, or one of the first 3 Zenkais. He's a victim. Like, if he got his Zenkai now, he would be a lot better. He was probably the first platinum equip for a character. If he got it now, he would be better. So, like, if that's the argument, then sure. But like I mentioned a moment ago, there's still the opportunity for an awakening. We still haven't seen an awakening for one of these new gen Super Saiyan 4 and beyond type of equips, right? Have we? I don't think we have. So there's that opportunity. Like I said, I don't know if they'll give a second one to some of these characters, because that would be really nice if they did. The resources aside, because screw the resources. But like, because that's, the resource grind is crazy. But like, just conceptually as a character, it would be nice. And then, you know, they also have the Zenkais and stuff for some of these guys, which these guys don't have Zenkais. So, like, there's opportunities for them to get better in the future. But I think we're really kind of mad at Goku and Frieza when we talk about this type of stuff because they got special treatment. And it's funny that they got special treatment when Orange Piccolo was like right there. He was right there. Dude is right there. You know what that means is that Orange Piccolo was like the middle grounds. He wasn't as bad like relative to what they wanted. He was what they wanted, and that was mid top 10 in that area, mid to end of top 10 character in the game. They didn't want him to be top 1, 2, 3. They want him to be 5, 6, 7, you know, that area. And that's what he was. It's true. But I also saw a lot of tier lists and people say he was like 15, 20. If the tier list is based on meta and not kit, then okay, right? Okay, that's fine. I think that Orange Piccolo is just a little bit too new to get a plat. What is the quickest turnaround? I would have preferred Blue Bros. Wait, what? Oh. I've seen Blue and Boo, like all that stuff mixed up. He's talking about the Super Saiyan Blues from the Legends Festival a couple years ago. I mean, who knows if they get one too sometime soon. Maybe they do. Anyway, maybe they get a Zenkai. They're a couple years old now, so they're on the table. Anyway, I think the quickest turnaround for like an equip or something is like who? Is it like LF Piccolo, the old one? Maybe he got maybe it was a Zenkai, like super fast for him. This guy, the yellow one. Who was the quickest turnaround? Like for an actual equip or something. Who is it? Let me know. I don't, because I mean, Piccolo still waited like 5 months, like I mentioned earlier. It's not, I mean, he's still kind of new, but yeah. If they mess up the Boo Bros equips, I'll be severely disappointed. Well, I'm here to tell you, depending on who you ask, they did. I mean, they need it for sure, but I was hoping MUI would get a plat, especially since LF Full Power Jiren is getting his Zenkai. I mean, who knows if he does? He could get it in this celebration too. He's still got another month, you know, month and a half of upcoming content for Legends Festival. Boo Bros with their main setup is goated and don't need a unique. Ooh, that's a contrarian opinion. But if you're not running them on their main setup, they're gonna need it for real. What the at is F Dragon Ball Legends? Okay, what is their main setup? What's he saying is the main setup here? Let me know what you guys think. Orange Piccolo can take what he can get because the only thing keeping him alive right now is Ultra Super Janemba and the boost system. Okay, yeah, that's fair. But he's also making the argument that the tag was better than Piccolo. Because I mean, can't you just? I also think it's kind of interesting to say that the Boo Bros are good on their team, and if you're using them there, they're goated. If you're not using them there, then they're gonna need it. But also saying that, like, yeah, Piccolo's there. They can do whatever they want for him because, you know, his team is keeping him alive. Isn't that the same thing? It's like the same argument, but just positively spun for one character and negative for the other. It's like literally the same argument. I'm not really sure, but what's the team? Is it like it's got to be Goku and Frieza because they just plug into every team? Who's a third? I don't know. Who's a third? But either way, if you're gonna put them on a super team like that, it's not them doing much. It's them getting carried, right? So that's I can plug any character. Like if I do Vegeta, Blue, Goku, and Frieza, or just Janemba, Goku, Frieza, whoever the two of those three is, the Gammas, Goku, Frieza, whoever. I could put almost Chop Water in that third spot and have them get carried. Like it doesn't matter. Can you chop water? Hopefully it makes them at least playable. Yeah, they're at least playable. For everyone saying that the Boo needs the equip in the game, you're wrong. The only thing they need to buff is the Vegeta side. I mean, that's kind of the point though, right? Equips have never done that for Zenkais. So like this one was also an experiment. This is the first time we've seen an equip for a tag character. Which is hilarious, by the way, that they are the first tag. Are they the first? I feel like I'm saying that and I'm wrong. But like, if I'm not, they're the first tag character. They're the second newest one or whatever, and they're getting it like first. That's kind of funny. So anyway, it was an experiment, or like now we know what to expect, right? Because now it's gonna be like, how much will they lean into it? Because the Vegeta side was just terrible, dude. The Goku side had all the perks. The Vegeta side is just, and it's like they're trying to be anime accurate. I'm not really mad at it. Whatever. They're trying to make Vegeta tank a wall. He heals, sustain, and just kind of just wait until Goku comes in and does all the damage. Like, okay, I get it. But it's a video game. We're not watching the show. And if you're gonna do that, you really got to lean into it harder than they did. So anyway, yeah, like this character, like I said a while ago, flat out needed not equip a Zenkai. That would have really been good for them. I understand that, but I was just saying the Vegeta side is the only side that needs to be buffed. I know they generally tend to do that on Zenkais. Yes, that is true. Don't have Piccolo, so I don't really care about what he gets of the Buu duo. Definitely needed something. The equip was okay. Still needed a lot more to be considered OP for the Buu duo. But for right now, he feels okay. And still fun to use. Honestly, though, he didn't need the equip, to be honest, at least right now. Okay, this person's saying that it's enough. I mean, it's not enough to be OP, but it's good enough. Feel like they didn't really need it. Okay. Piccolo's equip was horrible. It's so bad he didn't need it, and now that everyone complained for a buff he got a crappy plat due to him being a so recent release. I mean, he released like a month and a half, maybe 2 months before or after the boot. Like, it's not like a terrible time gap. If this keeps going, then sadly they're going to just give them the equipment when they come out. That's what I'm fearing with Piccolo's equip release. So Piccolo's equip is so like minuscule, and to be fair, on the Piccolo side, I don't think his equip is live in the game yet, is it? I'm pretty sure it's not live yet, so we don't actually know how Piccolo performs. Like, we only have an image in our head. I'm pretty sure that equip's not live. So yeah, I don't really have much opinions on that, like as a whole. Like, if it's crappy, because on paper it looks bad, like it's just one line, like on paper it looks bad. I'm not gonna argue with that. Like, they should have added some cut to it or something. Like, I'll never get over the 15 cut thing. Like, it's just weird. But like I said earlier, it probably is that he has some pre-transformation that's sticking through. I don't really know, but regardless, yeah. And I think it's a fair concern to wonder about characters getting buffed too soon after release, right? The problem with too soon after release, if it's not a balance change, this is where Goku and Frieza dude, they got so lucky. If it's not a balance change, you're immediately taking something off the table. But like I said, at least Piccolo, it would have been worse if Piccolo got a Zenkai right now, is what I'll say. It would have been worse. Most likely anyway. Because I guess later in like a year, if they wanted to buff him again, they gave him an equip. If he got a Zenkai now, they gave him an equip later. They could have just made the equip better. But if they want to buff him later, they have the opportunity to awaken the equip. They give him a Zenkai, things like that. So it's like, it's not bad that he has it conceptually. And I understand the argument of having a character get too much stuff too soon after release, because it does kill their long-term usefulness. This shows how bad they were and how the devs underestimated them. They really underfired and did not deserve that treatment, just like how Beaston was. They should have been like that. Well, I don't know if every character should be what Beast Gohan was unreleased. I think that's a bit extreme. I don't even know if they should be what Cooler was right before that on release either. I don't know. Last year was funny, dude. Last year was funny. Because the anniversary, they started just producing stuff. I remember I did videos. I was like, dude, they're just making stuff up. They made up the auto dodge into counter stuff. They made up the Dokubaki auto win. They made up the Tapion like final counter crap. They made up what was it? Oh, they made up some more stuff around that time period. It was just like every banner was just making up stuff, dude. And then it all culminates with Beast Gohan popping in, and he just does everything, and it's like, okay, all right. No, with Pan, they made up the arts boost thing, right? Not the arts boost, the arts powered debuff stuff with Pan, I believe. Maybe it was Zamasu. I think Zamasu came out after Pan. Anyway, moving on. It just was too much. So I don't know about that. I love how they skip old units that truly need that kind of treatment. Sarcasm. Yeah, they do skip some of the older ones. Part of the reason why is because they're old. It's really that simple. If you wonder why, sometimes if they have an opportunity to buff a newer character versus an older character, is because of several factors. Like, first and foremost, they have an opportunity to sell newer characters more than they do older characters, particularly like characters that have been in the game for years, like Gogeta Blue, right? That's part of the reason why. If they were to, so like Piccolo's getting this buff, he may have a banner that pops up next week or something. Well, obviously people are going to pull for him then, you know? Like, there's more opportunities to sell those characters that are newer if they have an opportunity to buff a newer character. That's why Goku and Frieza also got buffed. is because they knew they weren't good enough, and they wanted them to be the best, and they wanted them to be the best because they wanted them to sell so good. See? So it is what it is. So yeah, like I understand older characters needing it more, but if they have an opportunity to say old versus new, they're going to say new every single time they're going to say new. And it's just, there's numerous reasons why, but the most important one is money. I love how I already answered that. Rai's going to be happy. Yeah, I'm sure he was. I haven't watched his content about it, but I'm sure he is very happy. Like everyone said, the Boo Bros needed it, but they're going to have to make theirs better than the Zenkai Plats if the Boo Duo want to be a safe, usable unit. As for Piccolo, I feel like they're going to give him one like they did Dragon Fist. He can potentially become a really good unit. I wonder where this person stands in hindsight. If they do this right, they could really impact the meta. Always down to see Piccolo get some attention. LOL, I have 20,000 CC. Nice, CNN. Would be nice if I actually had those units. That's a mood. Boo Duo needed, but Piccolo is fine. Other units. So like there is actually, see, like I really think Piccolo had a big resurgence in the meta, and it's led to people being more okay with him. Like I've read several times in this video, and I've seen online in response to this a lot of times before Piccolo got his equip, and before Janemba, it was like, oh yeah, give Piccolo an equip, give him an equip. But since he became relevant again, everyone's like, nah, he was fine. Don't give it to him. He didn't need it. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need it. And it's so weird. It's so weird because from the moment he released, it was like, dude, he's garbage. Dude, and that's probably too far extremely opposite end. That's the whole point I've been making. We have a tendency to either overrate or underrate characters when they first release. And part of that is like, that's just how it is. But part of that also is the game with boost system and all that stuff. It's just really weird. And it's hard to judge how good a character truly is on paper. This is why I said like the devs also have this issue, because just the way the game's designed. It's hard to judge how good a character is on paper. I remember Goresh and I read Super 17, the green one, of course, when he was releasing for the first time. We were just so shocked about him. And it was like, oh, this guy's crazy, and this guy's crazy, and then he wasn't crazy. Like, it's hard to evaluate a character on paper. And then also the way that they're intended to be function, and then also with the meta in mind too. Like, it's just hard. And so Piccolo, I think, got a huge resurgence. The fact Piccolo is next to arguably the worst release this year doesn't make sense to me. While Piccolo may not be as impressive as the other any units, he's still tiers above Boo Duo, and I feel like someone else could have gotten it. I'm glad Piccolo got it. He's heavily underperformed, and for the ones that were excited for him are disappointed. Like who? All the LF's releases here were good besides these two. Plus, they want to bait people into summoning for them. Nobody would summon if they would have given the plats to, let's say, LF Bardock or LF Gogeta Blue. That's also part of what I just said. The newer characters are going to win every time. If it's between new characters versus old characters, and especially if it's a new character that's still relevant, or like a new character that like recently released that people probably have a sour taste for, if they can buff that character and find a way to resell it to you, repackage it and sell it to you, they're going to do it. It's just that simple. And both of these characters were characters that underperformed this year in terms of the release and people's hype levels and all that stuff, expectation. So obviously they're the choices. It just makes sense. It literally just makes sense. When you remove yourself from it as the consumer, because I personally, I think they should give it to older characters too, by the way. But when you think about it from the other perspective, everything like that makes a lot more sense. It does. It makes a lot more sense. The LFs that were on one banner and never came back. Well, wouldn't you know it? They're gonna come back. The boys gonna be. You might get lucky and they may be on one of these upcoming hype banners for the celebration, but they're gonna come back. They coming back for sure. they gonna make sure that they put them in your face. Boo Bros, I feel, was definitely needed. Piccolo IDK because I don't have him personally. Okay. Green Piccolo's supposed to give one to Beast Gohan. Oh, really? Oh, really? I would have been happy if Revival UI had got that plat instead of Goku or instead of Piccolo. It's another character that's been on like... Okay, no, he was on one banner, then they reran that same banners. And recently. It's another character where it's just like... That Revival Goku got so crapped on. Everything I saw from people on the community was, oh, he's not good enough, this and that. And then all of a sudden it shifted and everybody wanted him. Everyone wanted him back. And I'm just like, dude, what is going on with this community? Like, it's just so weird. But like I said, it's because it's really hard to gauge characters, especially when they're brand new. And then the meta shifts as well. Like, it's just really weird. Like, that Goku's very valuable now, just like Piccolo, because Janemba. It's just so funny to me. But it's just the way the game is designed. Rising good. Been passing out after uploading hundreds of videos with the Budo. Dude, I did tune into a few Rai videos. My guy was out here freaking using them all the time, like trying to wish it to happen. Oh man, they need to start playtesting units before releasing them. That's part of it too. No reason these units should be getting plat this soon. At this rate, Piccolo will get his before New Year's. Nice. You predicted it. Like I said, some certain YouTuber whose name rhymes with Shmi Tree may have been saying it a while. Rai's gonna go crazy with the Boo Bros. Let them cook. I'm just sad OP needed a plat already. I'm pretty bad at the game, and I have Piccolo at low stars. I can use all the help I can get. Like, I like running him with Janemba and Yellow Cells and Kai. Why is Piccolo's unique gauge unique equip time gated? Oh yeah. So this was from yesterday. It literally confirmed that it's not live. I'm pretty sure it wasn't live. His equip is not available yet. It's there. It's gonna start being available. Like, they just put it in the update. I guess they were gonna take next week off because of holiday or something. I don't really know. Does Japan celebrate Thanksgiving? Like, I don't know. I don't. Well, I'm just. This may sound ignorant, but like, I don't even really remember what Thanksgiving really is for. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I will not hold you. It sounds ignorant. I know. I'm sorry. I don't even remember what it's for. But what I think I remember what it's for, it doesn't sound like it would apply to Japan. Like, I'm pretty sure it doesn't apply to a lot of places. So yeah, I don't really think. So I don't really know. Maybe they're going to take the week off, whatever the case is, but they pushed it a week early in the update. The good news is, if you heard that, you're very dedicated. You're 35 minutes, 36 minutes into the video. You'll let me slide. Man, we're going to read a few more because I got to get out of here. I'm just sad Piccolo needed one. I'm pretty bad at the game. I read that one. I'm interested in Piccolo's plat. I just don't have the Boo Bros. That's fair. If they're going to do these right, they should not do them. When was the last equipment that really was a hit? Oh, if they aren't going to do these right, they shouldn't do them. This person has future knowledge because this was one day ago, so this person knows what these equips do. Versus some of the other ones that they don't know because it was just when the preview image came out before the data download hit, so they don't have context. So this person is clearly not happy with these equips, which is fair. I think most people aren't. Even though I don't really think it's fair to judge Piccolo yet, because we only have numbers and letters, we don't really know what he actually does. But regardless, yeah, I can't. I mean, they put out a lot of equips that are good for the LF characters. Dragon Fist was kind of okay. 50% charge rate is good. I mean, some of this stuff's good. When's the last one that was like actually like, wow? I don't really know. Was it like Bardock? Restores health by 5%, restores ki, draws a card when the enemy switches. I can't recall how much this really helps his playstyle. Jiren's is kind of whatever, just like heals. Yeah, there it is. Restores health and damage, whatever. Who was it? Was it Broly? Low key, they haven't. It probably was Cell. I think it's Cell. The reason why is because this completely changed Cell. Like, he desperately needed this extra gauge. It completely changed Cell's usability. Because other characters here just flat out fell off. Like, Kid Buu, I think, was good for a little bit still, but he fell off instantly, was no longer seen. Bardock, same deal. Jiren, I go, okay, Jiren just got a Zenkai, so I can't really say because recency bias. Broly fell off. Like, Cell may be the only one that, like, even this one's crap. Like, it's probably Cell. It's like, it was a long time ago, dude. That's a fair argument. That is a fair argument. They might have something against LF Gogeta and LF Broly and Blue Bros. I have none of them, so I feel miserable. I feel amazing. Shout out to all the Orange Piccolo haters. Keep hating. I'm assuming this is sparking Piccolo and LF Goku and Vegeta. Yellow Piccolo is cool, but mid is hell, and Goku and he said yellow. I thought he was talking about yellow color, but he means Power Awakened Piccolo, I guess. It was a cool concept, but wholly unneeded. And only a few weeks later, we'd get Goku and Frieza, which craps all over them. Yeah, that's kind of the point. Still my favorite character duo though. Okay. If that is the LF Piccolo, then he was also cool, but way worse IMO as he needed to die to achieve his full power rather than being at maximum. Oh, is this person wondering if that was purple Piccolo from the year prior, maybe? With Beast Gohan? Boo duo is still bad, especially when playing as Vegeta. Piccolo will is played now since Janemba release, so this will boost him even more. I don't have them. Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Vegeta still suck. I ain't impressed with that unit at all. He's still a test subject in my eyes. Test subject for what? I don't have any of these units. I don't have either of them, so I don't particularly care. I don't care. I don't have them already. I have neither character. Okay, so a lot of these comments at the bottom. Thankfully, we're done. We actually read all 70 of them. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, I'll see you later.